What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Wookie Whispers. We are back in the building from a slight hiatus, but we are rocking and rolling. I'm finally settled in and we are crushing it. And none other than I have today Sam from Absolute Sabers. I couldn't have kicked it off any better. My brother from the UK. How you doing today?
Yeah, man, a lot better than I have been recently.
Yeah, tell me about
Yeah.
that.
Oh, dude, things have been wild. I've spent the last 4 weeks out of the last 6 sick, so it's been pretty wild. But I'm doing a lot better, man. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. It's been a hell of a year that mixed with a lot of blessings and mixed with some craziness that I could forget. If I never thought about again, I'd be happy with that. But you know what? The
I feel that,
scars,
man.
yep, the scars help us remember what we have going forward
Yep.
and make us stronger, and don't let us forget the past so that we're stronger forward in the future. So I'm happy about that. I'm happy that I'm able to look forward now. I'm about 4 weeks out from a brand new baby. So we're balancing moving and
Oh
that and
man.
everything going on at once. So it is it's intense. It's intense. But you know what, man? I'm excited. I'm excited to have my little studio situation back kind of in order. So many things that I still want to do with this place, but I wanted to at least get what I had set up ready to rock and roll so that
It's looking good, man. It's looking good already.
thanks, man. I got about three other walls that I want to like set up for different purposes. But I needed, to start crushing content again. So we are back in the building. And so this is just kind of this setup. And I've got other ideas for the other walls that I haven't even began. So I'm excited though. I'm excited for what's coming now that I have my own space and we are finally in here. I've been talking about getting into this space for the past few months, and this is the first episode of Wookie Whispers where I'm able to, be in the space that I've been talking about for months. So
For quite a while. Yeah.
yeah.
I was
So
just gonna say as well, when that baby arrives, bro, you're gonna know all about it.
oh
All
yeah.
about it, man. So congratulations again, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think too, like a big part of having this space too, with the new baby on the way, is going to be huge because I'm going to have everything set up. So there's going to be less like setup, breakdown. I could just come in prepared, turn everything on and kind of
Yep.
roll. So that's going to shorten
Yep.
my creation time because I'll have everything just rocking and rolling. So
Dude, you know
pretty
what? I
excited.
feel you on that one. I've done exactly the same thing over the past couple months. I see Tony's requesting that I slide the camera down. It is down as far as it goes. This
Yeah.
seat's busted, so it can't go up any further. But yeah, no, I'm exactly the same, bro. I kind of went full time ish kind of recently, with content, and like I said, I've spent the last 6 of those 8 weeks since I've made that transition sick. But I'm in the same boat, man. I set everything up to the point where I can just come in, lights on, cameras dialed in, hit record, and that's it. And believe you me, I've done a few reviews now and quite a bunch of kind of content where it does shorten the time. The production time comes right down because you're not rolling this out and setting that light up and rearranging that camera and doing this and dial. What was that setting again? Honestly, you are going to have such a field day with that new setup, bro, and it's looking great.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like today, all I had to do was take like my desk setup and just lower it so I could sit because I do my recordings for like product reviews standing up.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just a better flow for me. So I just lowered it so I could sit to my chair, just changed the height of my camera stand, and that was it. And
Yep.
so that took me what, a minute, 30 seconds. So that was
Yeah.
nice. That
There
was
you
nice.
go.
So I'm
There you
excited
go.
about that. So yeah, I mean, I could talk about studio setups and all that. I'm a tech
Oh,
nerd.
dude, me too,
Uh
man. I'm still working in progress with what's behind me just now. I've taken all the sabers are down off the wall. I've got
yep.
shelving up now. The problem I've now run into is I'm running out of space on those shelves to where I have to now invest in vertical saber stands to try
Oh,
and get more
really?
in. So yeah, I feel you with that one. Try to get everything set up and looking the way that you want it. It can be tedious.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it could be a lot. So, uh this will come, and I'm not forcing it. It's going to naturally happen when it happens.
Yeah, well, man,
So,
it's the
w-
evolution of the space. Sorry, it's the evolution of the space, man. That's how it is. You can take a photograph of what it is like now, right at the start, and then give it 6 months and see how it is.
100%, 100%. So yeah, that's where we're at. So a lot of you guys don't know, I actually met Sam in Orlando.
Yeah,
Less than it. What is it? Has it been a full year?
nearly. It was
In
September last
October,
year. September,
September.
October, end of September, start of October last year. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So not even a year yet. So it'll be
Not
coming up
even a
on a
year.
year soon. Yep. So
Yeah.
we got to hang out in Galaxy's Edge, got to go to Oga's Cantina.
Dude, that was so
Unfortunately,
sick.
it was so sick. It was pouring and all of that. But either way, it was a blast. And we got a little soaked, but it's all good.
There's
It's all
so
good.
much. It was funny. I came across a photograph on my phone a couple of weeks back of everyone wearing ponchos, and there's just me. I didn't poncho it up, man. I'm like, yeah, I'm from Scotland. I can get used to the warm rain. Like, because when it rains here, it's freezing cold rain, So to
Hmm.
have that tropical rain falling on you, it's warm. It's quite refreshing.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, because it's
Yeah, man.
probably feeling like icicles out there,
Oh,
which is
dude,
pretty wild.
it's like little daggers just hitting you sometimes, especially in the winter.
Yep. Oh my God. All right. So I want to get into it. We know each other pretty well, but there's a lot of my people that don't know you. And we got a bunch of people already here chilling in the chat. And we got some people that don't know myself. So one of the first questions I wanted to get into and talk to you about was, tell me about like your background with Star Wars. Like, how did it begin and what made you fall in love with it? Was it something that happened when you were very young, or is it something that you came into a little bit later on in life?
Dude, I never ever get sick of answering this question because as you know, like a bunch of us we do similar style kind of shows on our channels, right? And every
Right.
time you go on someone's show, like Tony, for example, or a couple others that I've been on, it is usually the first question, and I never tire of answering it. Basically, my father was a massive Star Wars fan. He I think when was it? 96, 97, I think it was. They were gearing up for the release of the Phantom Menace, but they hadn't yet announced the Phantom Menace.
Okay.
So they re-released the VHSs, but it was a different edition. It wasn't the original cinematic releases. It was like the first special edition kind of
Mhm.
trilogy. And he was just chilling one day watching Empire. And pardon me, growing up, my mum and dad they both ran restaurants and whatnot, so we didn't get a lot of time to spend time as a family. So we took advantage of it whenever we could. So he was watching Empire one day, and I must have been about 5 or 6 years old, and I just kind of sat on the couch next to him and just started watching it. I hadn't seen A New Hope, but I just get roped in. I just get completely captivated, and I always remember the scene, Luke and Vader, Cloud City having that fight. The hand goes off, and the famous no scene. Like I'm your father or not, and that was it. And I was like, cool. And then I remember asking him, "Is there another one?" So we put on Return of the Jedi, and that's kind of really where it came from. It was just one afternoon or one evening, I can't quite remember, sat with my dad watching 5 and 6, then watched 4 afterwards, which is weird. But yeah, and then a few years later, Phantom Menace came out, and I was about 9 or 10 years old, seen it in the theater, and yeah, man, it was a love affair that started with not just Star Wars, but cinema in general.
Wow. Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. Yeah, I mean, so that must mean we're right around the same age because I'm 32. So I think when
Uh
Fantasy came out, I was 7 or
yeah,
8.
I'm 34, I'm 35 this year. Although I don't look it, I still look 21.
That's it.
Um
That's it. Forever young. Forever
I
young.
wish, bro. I wish. Hey Chris, what's up, baby? Um, yeah, man. Yeah, I'm 35 this year, so we're same ages.
Hell
You
yeah,
know,
dude. Hell yeah. Let's check out the chat really quick. So we got Tony, Star Wars Sith. We got Chris, the Nerd Dad. We got Batmando. What's up, brother? Welcome to the chat.
what's up, man?
That's Elisi. Welcome, welcome. And I think that's what we got so far. There's probably more watching, but not everybody has entered the
Yeah,
chat.
right. When you get people just sitting watching and chilling out and they don't engage, it's like, come on, guys, get involved. Come on, let's have some banter.
That's it. If you guys are watching and haven't yet introduced yourself, comment in the chat where you're located and what's your favorite Star Wars movie. Um,
Ooh,
yeah. So
there's the
for me,
question.
that's a hell of a question. There's so many of them, and that's a debate in and of itself.
Yes, sir.
Um,
Yes, sir.
Rebel Scum in the building. Actually, before I move on to that, Rebel Scum, guys, if you guys need Star Wars apparel, they are the place to be. I am
Agreed.
actually rocking their Luke
Ah,
Skywalker
look at
shirt
that, man.
as we are speaking at the moment. The joint is fire. As you can see, the fit is next level. Quality of the material is amazing. And go check them out ASAP.
I
So,
haven't actually picked up any of their stuff yet, but like you, I'm doing some stuff for them.
yeah,
And I'm desperate. I'm definitely going to grab some for the trip this year, absolutely, because their stuff looks incredible.
I got a bunch of stuff and I rock it out all the time. So, absolutely love it. It's a must purchase. And they've got so many different graphics. You
Yep.
can't go wrong. If you're looking for it, they've got it. And what's cool is they
Yep.
don't just have like the typical things. They have like things I've never seen before.
Yep.
So super dope. And then I'm a stickler for like the fit of the clothing.
Yep.
And the fit is on point for me. Like it feels good on the chest and the shoulders. I don't know. I'm about it. Looks great. So everybody go check out Rebel Scum if you haven't already.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
I completely agree.
So for me, Star Wars began. I mean, Star Wars was always like a thing, right? It was, my gosh, Star Wars was just history. My dad was always like, yo, like, you got to watch this. It's Star Wars, right? So
Yep. Yep.
it was always around. It didn't become like a real big thing up until like high school
Hmm.
for me, where I got real sick. I was locked up in my bedroom and I bootleg streamed them on my Xbox.
Hell yeah.
Yep. I was like, you know
Back to
what?
the bootlegging days, bro.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, man.
When you were gonna like give your computer Xbox like a disease just to like stream a song. Yeah. Uh, was living that life. And then yeah, man, I watched them in actually chronological order, so not in release order. And
Right.
I think right when I hit Phantom Menace, excuse me, Revenge of the Sith, I was like, even though I've already seen them, it was the
Yeah.
first time I seen them back to back in like storyline order and like
Yep.
actually like really like put the pieces together. Even though I've seen the movies, and I was like, oh yeah, like I know exactly what's going to happen. But actually like paying attention and like studying it, it just unlocked a whole new world for me. And I think that was
Yeah.
around ninth, 10th grade. And then I mean the rest is history from there. So yeah, that was how Star Wars became like a real big deal. I remember when Rogue One came out and I was like, oh, we are back in business, ladies and
Dude,
gentlemen.
you literally just took the words out of my mouth, man. Like, I think when Rogue One came out, just what you were talking about there, kind of watching stuff in kind of chronological order, and you're kind of hooked.
Yep.
You always remember that kind of first time or whatever that you watch A New Hope, right? And when Rogue One came out, I've got a great Rogue One story. I'll tell you shortly. But when that came out and you seen that movie, it was not only connecting more dots, but it felt like Star Wars from the outset. It
Yeah.
had a feel to it, right? Just the way that it was done, the way it was produced, the way the lighting was, just everything about that movie. It just felt like classic Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know, classic Star Wars. The night I seen that, actually, it's I was in Glasgow, and here in Scotland, and it was a corn gig. So I went to the corn gig, and then I had tickets for the midnight showing on the night it came out, and I was completely wasted. Like I was, you go to a gig or a concert, and you just completely get hammered. I
Yeah.
forgot halfway through the show that I had tickets to go and see Rogue One, and the show ended. And I was like, "Oh, I've got tickets for Rogue One," so I hot-footed it into the city centre to the theatre. And I feel so sorry for anyone that was sat close to me because I was not smelling very pleasant. That's for sure. But I remember thinking, "Whoa, this is." I felt like I was 5 or 6, 7 years old again, sat next to my dad watching Star Wars. That's how it made me feel.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah, so good. I mean, that hallway scene with Vader is
Oh,
just next level, and then the way they tie it into A New Hope, like, it just
yep,
like a seamless playthrough.
yep.
My hairs stick up every time I'm thinking about it, and I'm, like, blown, so
Yeah, because you get so far through the movie and you think, right, okay, where's this going to end and where's A New Hope going to begin? And then you realize, oh wow, it literally runs concurrent. You can just finish this one and hit play on A New Hope, and you haven't missed a beat.
yeah,
You know,
100%, 100%.
it's one of the best Star Wars movies. Period.
Easily,
Yeah,
and it was a Disney movie.
yeah. A lot of people forget that as well for the the crap they give Disney and whatever. It's a Disney movie,
Yeah,
and
they
it's
produced one
it's
of the
it's
best ones.
easily top 3 of anything.
Oh, yeah, production, next level. Next level. Let's check the chat really quick here. Crystal Kyber, welcome to the chat. Appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. Let's see here. Triple M says, never seen Star Wars. Should I binge watch it?
Oh
Absolutely.
yes.
Binge it now.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Leave this stream and start now, right?
yeah,
just go. We can be one down. It's fine. Just go and do
that's it.
it.
He says, where do I start? I think there's two schools of thought for that. I mean, if you want to watch it how the rest of us watched it, you're going to want to
Yeah.
watch it in release order. But I will say there is, at least for me, there was a special thing of watching it in chronological order.
Yes. Yes.
And so either way is not wrong. It just depends on, what school of thought you want to do it in. But if you have no idea and you want to just you want to dive in and really just understand it, not be as confused, I think for a casual fan or
Yeah.
somebody that's curious, watch it in timeline order.
Yep. I would
Um,
agree.
I mean, the rest of us obviously we were flipped upside down, went forward, went
Yep.
backwards,
The
underground.
OGs. We suffered
Yeah.
through the hard times, man. There's this thing, it's a theory, perhaps. I don't know. It's something that I heard years ago, and it always kind of stuck with me. If you watch it in release order, it tells the story of Darth Vader, the victim. So you see Darth Vader as Darth Vader
Yep.
and just the wicked entity that he is. And then you get the separate story of how that happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's Darth Vader, the victim, because you realize, oh, he was lied to. If you watch it in timeline order, it almost tells the story of Darth Vader, the villain, up until maybe Return of the Jedi. So there's a few skills of thought. I've heard of people maybe doing 1, skipping 2, watching 3, doing 4, 5, and 6, 7, skipping 8, and watching 9.
Really?
There's so many different ways of watching it from, I think people have their own preferences, but I mean, I'll watch them all, even 8, and that's saying something. I'll leave that at that.
Yeah, I would say 8 is definitely my least favorite.
Yeah,
I am not a sequels hater.
same.
I will watch them and I don't hate them. I don't care for 8. So sometimes like I'll just skip 8. But I like watching them just because the simple fact of they're so new and the
Yeah.
cinematic like aspect of them and the sounds and like just like the graphics, and I really just like watching the visual aspects of them. I think that's
Yeah.
why I keep going back.
I mean,
I'm
8 had one
also
of the best shots in it of all time. Was that hyperspace jump through the Star Destroyer? Like
right.
that was one of the best shots in Star Wars, right? And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
but it was in. I'm not a massive hater of the sequels either. I just don't really agree with how they portrayed Luke. You know, you can see the
100%.
argument from both sides, right? You can go
100%.
down the mental health argument of, okay, he tried to get the new Jedi Order up and running, you know, and he sees in his own eyes that he failed, so he's isolated himself and blah. Okay, you can see that. But would Luke Skywalker do that the way that we have, you know, grown up with him? No. And that's just my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they didn't. That wasn't my Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, same. It
If
wasn't
that
mine
makes
either.
sense. You know, I went into that expecting a completely different Luke Skywalker, and I didn't receive that. And I think majority of us didn't receive the Luke Skywalker that we
Yeah.
were expecting.
I think our Luke Skywalker was what we got in Mando. You know, that was
That is
our
my
Luke
Luke
Skywalker. Yeah.
Skywalker.
Yeah.
That scene. Hold on. This right here.
Is that the Hot Toys?
It's a Gentle Giant.
Ah, right. Okay.
This scene right here.
Yep. Yep.
Forget about it.
And the parallels as well to Vader.
Oh yeah, when he's like, and he just crushes them. That whole scene.
Oh.
I go back and I watch that episode all the time. The moment you see the X-wing flying across like through the window,
yep,
where Mando and all them they're in, you know, locked up away in there. I'm like, I remember seeing that for the first time. I'm like, God, please tell me that's Luke.
Yeah, man. I was exactly the same. I was watching it with I think it was my partner Louise and my mother for the first time, because my mum's a massive Star Wars fan as well, just as big a Star Wars fan as me.
Wow.
She doesn't collect lightsabers, obviously, but whenever I get new stuff in and she visits, which is more often than not now because of the little one, she's always in here going, "Oh, God, this is new, this is nice." But she like done the obligatory kind of grab of the leg, you know, like, oh my God, is that? And we we're looking at each other going, I think it is. And then Louise, God bless her, she was like pretty new to Star Wars at the time. She was like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
Oh
who is
goodness.
it? You know, but now she understands like how the gravity of that scene, you know.
It's a big deal. It's a
Massive
big deal.
And it was supposed to be Plo Koon. You know?
I mean, that was the cover up, right?
Right.
Dave Filoni and his antics.
I know. Well, apparently we're getting him an acolyte. I will say no more.
Bottom right corner, when they're looking over the cliff, that kind of looks like Plo Koon.
Oh, that's Plo Koon. There's no doubt about it. That is Plo Koon. If it turns out being like, you know, I don't know, Chiari Mundi, I'm going to be pissed. Like, it's like, psych, it's Luke Skywalker again. You're like, wait a minute, we're 100 years before.
Well, that his species, they're like what, like they live to like 200-300 years ish. I could be wrong, but
they
live old.
Man, yeah.
And so in the if it's about 100 years from the Phantom Menace, he's alive.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Oh, yeah. The latest teaser with spoiler, by the way, just in case anyone hasn't seen the teasers, but I think most of us have. But the latest one with Yoda and the Jedi in the chambers talking, and he's kind of narrating the whole thing.
You said Yoda?
I'm sure it was Yoda. Yeah, I'm Paul. I was an international trailer.
Oh, we didn't get that in the States.
Internet, unless it was just something someone cobbled together, but it was definitely on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure it was the Star Wars page that put it up.
Screen record it and send it to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to look for it now while we're talking about this, because you've got me second guessing myself. But no, this series is going to be.
I think it's gonna be epic.
Well, I know people that seen it last week in LA, and I know people who've seen it tonight in London, and they have been like, "Bro, you will not be disappointed."
So I've
Like,
read a bunch of like some of the critics talking about it. They've seen like the first 2 episodes. Some of them even seen the first 4 episodes,
yeah, that's the
and
ones I went off of was the first 4 episodes.
and a few of them I know are like Disney Star Wars haters, and they
Yep,
gave it praise.
yep,
So I'm excited, man. I'm excited. And so like I'm pushing it because there's too much hate in Star Wars. Our
yes,
fandom, unfortunately, is extremely toxic, and I'm freaking over it. Like, I understand there's things that we won't like. Like, okay, episode 8, trash, but I don't throw the whole trilogy out
yeah.
just because of one movie,
You
or
can't
whatever.
throw the whole trilogy out, and I'll tell you the reason as to why you can't. Right, and I've always defended J.J. Abrams, and I love J.J. Abrams as a producer, as a writer, as a director. I think when the remake of Star Trek came out in 2009, I want to say,
Mhm.
loved it. Right. So when I heard he was going to be directing The Force Awakens, I was really excited. Like, oh, J.J. Abrams is going to be great, you know. And Force Awakens, okay, was it a reboot of A New Hope? Yeah, kind of. But
Right.
it was awesome. It was done great. It was done with taste. It was done very, very well. When he came back, because he was literally begged to come and save Episode 9, he cut the guy some slack. He didn't have a lot of time to, really get a story together properly. And what we got is it a little bit, I wouldn't say far fetched, but was it a little bit kind of cobbled together, perhaps? But it was a good enough movie. Were there some things I would change? Absolutely. But it is what it is. And the guy done the best with the car crash that he was left.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Like, what do you expect? Episode 8 completely derailed everything.
Yeah.
Completely derailed it. So he was just like,
Massively.
"Okay, what do I do with all these shards?" And he's just paper macheing that bad boy back
Yeah.
together. And for what he was left, the movie was pretty damn good for what it was. I don't know why they made the decision to move directors. That was dumb.
I think the directors actually walked. I can't remember.
You
Someone,
think
Tony will
JJ
probably
walked?
know. No, no, no. The for episode 9, the people who were writing that and directing that, they walked.
Oh,
Ryan always had episode 8. He was given that way ahead of release. But as to why it was signed off on some of the very poor ideas and decisions that he wanted to implement is beyond me. However, we got it. Would we rather not have it? Some people would say yes, but I would rather have it because at the end of the day, it's Star Wars, and us OG fans, how long did we go without no Star Wars? And
that's
that's the
exactly
point.
it.
It's the
That's
point I always
exactly
make.
it. It's something I think about all the time, and I talk about with my friends is that okay, there is some shows like let's say Boba Fett.
I see. This is the thing. I quite enjoyed Boba Fett, like the whole Power Rangers thing. Okay, fair enough. Like the whole
Right.
on the scooter, like the moped stuff.
Oh yeah,
Okay, fair enough. You're like, okay, on the little twisty turn and shooting, like, come on, bro. But in terms of like that character and getting to see him surviving the Sarlacc pit and then the story with the Tuscans, I really enjoyed it. You know,
yeah. So I think for me, Boba Fett, the only reason why it was was because I guess I built up Boba Fett to be this badass, crazy bounty hunter.
yeah,
Just as I don't know, this force to be reckoned with kind of
yeah,
thing. And that was my perception for so long. And I didn't get that version that I made him out to be in my head
yeah,
in the show. And
yeah.
but that's my fault. right? And I recognize that. And so I think a lot of us need to kind of take a step back and understand that like we are not writing these characters, right? And our own perception of what we want these things to be a lot of times are not realistic. And that happens with
Correct.
like people in real life, like our
Yeah.
friends or family. We have this expectation of them and it doesn't come to fruition. Why?
Yep.
Because we built it up. So it's the same thing with
Yeah.
movies, shows, you
Yeah.
name it. And so the problem happens is when we don't take a step back and say, "Oh, that's on me."
Yeah. No,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. And this is why, like, I've been saying to people with the acolyte, you know, I've got a friend who worked on the show. And he's not told me everything, but he's told me a fair amount about certain things and what to expect, and you know all the carry on surrounding the acolyte over the last kind of several months with the showrunner and everything else. And I think people just need to kind of calm down, you know, like people really need to remove themselves from the situation and remember that they are not writing these shows or movies. They are a fan, right? And they should appreciate what they have. Is much of it perfect? No, but is anything perfect? No. At the same time, we still get this content. The thing with the Acolyte, with the stuff that I know about the show, and I've said to people I'll do an Insta Live a couple of times a week, and Acolyte came up obviously with you know, the critics reviews coming out last week. I said to people, take a step back from this one and actually watch it for what it is. We're exploring a different time period. We have never seen this time period really in live action. We've had
Nope.
tastes of it in Survivor with certain characters and whatnot, but we've never actually gone back and been in this time period. And 100 years before the Phantom Menace, this is going to give us a massive kind of insight into the way everything was prior to the events, obviously, of episode one. You know, the show is a murder mystery kind of thriller type show. It's a slow burner from what I've been told. So it's really one of those, if you guys kind of like, you know, like CSI, NCIS, all that kind of stuff. I'm a massive NCIS fan. I love NCIS. That kind of stuff. Like when I heard that about this show, I was like, cool. That's right up my alley. Murder mystery, slow burner. Yeah, I'm in. You know, with
Yeah.
lightsabers, hell yeah. You know? So yeah, it's gonna be a good show. And I think you're right, man. People need to just calm down a little bit and remember that they can't set their expectations and then not expect to be disappointed, because when you set your expectations too high on in any walk of life, whether it's a show, a personal relationship, a job,
Yep.
whatever it is, you will always be disappointed. You're better just to go into anything with an open mind, you know, and take away
100%.
from it what you want. You know, there will be bad bits, but there will also be good bits.
100%. It's like you can, let's say there's going to be 8 or 9 episodes, right? Is it 8?
Eight episodes. Eight
Yeah.
episodes, yeah.
8 episodes, the last thing I want is for somebody to see one episode that they don't like and then they're like, "You know what? The whole thing is trash."
Yeah.
People do
Yeah.
that. And here's the problem that I run into with people is that, and you actually hit on this a little bit earlier, is if we as creators, like all of you guys that are in the chat, majority of you, I know you guys personally, and a lot of us are Star Wars creators. And what
Yeah.
happens is that if we come on here and we set a narrative that it is trash, not only are we telling our subscriber base or whatever that is trash, a lot of times they look up to us for their information, their news,
Yeah.
whatever it might be, and they're going to take our opinions and then they are going to go and tell their friends or whoever, "Hey, you know what?
Bang
It's
on.
trash," right? We feed into this. So what happens is what's going to happen is if we continue to perpetuate this issue where we are pouring negativity out into the Star Wars fandom, what's going to happen? Star Wars is going to continue to plummet,
Yeah.
and eventually we're not going to have it anymore.
Yeah. No,
And,
you're bang on. You're bang
you
on.
know,
No, people need to learn how to behave, right? Like, and this is the problem with living in this interactive technological world that we now live in, this society where people think they can write whatever they want on the internet and hide behind a keyboard, and they close over their laptop and all of a
Mhm.
sudden it goes away and it isn't real.
Right.
It's still there. There are still people seeing that. There are still people, sponging that information, and the same goes for um how you conduct yourself online, and it's people just need to learn how to behave, how to be respectful, have your opinion. Everyone is entitled to an opinion, you
Mhm.
know. People need to learn how to agree to disagree peacefully. If you ever been on a Reddit, like a Star Wars Reddit, oh, bro, it's like the Gulf War. It's ridiculous, you know. And when I say it's like the Gulf War, what I mean is there's a lot of talking and not much action. Like there's
Right.
it's hilarious to read some of the stuff that some people are coming away with, and
I
it's
can only
just like,
imagine.
guys, gals, come on, calm down. We're all fans of the same thing here. Let's just calm down,
Exactly.
and that's what ruins it for me, That's what ruins it for me. The Saber community is a lot like that as well, and you just kind of need to learn to block it out quite a bit, because if you don't, it'll ruin it for you.
100%. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunately, I think our fan base loves way too hard. And then, you know,
Our
it,
fan base loves drama.
yeah, well, it's a space drama, so
Yeah, no, but it's not
you
just
know.
that. It's like our fan base loves to be right. You know,
Mhm.
like it's one of these things where a classic example was left a comment on when the Acolyte trailer came out a couple months back. It was a thread on Instagram, and it was quite a good, engaging thread. Actually, it's probably one of the most engaging threads that I came across in quite some time, on Instagram at least. And I'd happened to mention that, oh well, it's set 200 to 300 years before the Phantom Menace, because originally that was the narrative. I did read that, and then they changed it to 100 years. And this guy just came at me like, he's like, it was always 100 years. It's never been. I'm like, dude, I'm just telling you what I read. Like, and when we were at Celebration last year, it was mentioned it was like 200 to 300 years. Like, don't question what I heard. Like, dude, come on.
Mhm.
If it's 100 years now, cool, sweet, awesome. So I left it at that, and then this guy just kept on. My phone was lighting up. It was going boom, 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 comment, 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 comment. And then everyone just piled in on him. And I'm like, this is so unnecessary. Like, just, if I was wrong with
Mm.
info, sweet, I was wrong. Cool. It's 100
No
years.
big deal.
Awesome. No big deal. My apologies. But this guy just would not let it go, man. I was like, whoa, dude, step out the basement for a second, dog. Jeez. You know,
He just
it's
has no life,
it's
and
those people that I worry about,
they have
you
nothing else
know?
going on but to just
And
argue.
I worry about people like that, because there's a lot more to life. We all love Star Wars, right? There's a lot more to life than Star Wars.
Yeah. Oh man, but I could talk about that forever. Um,
You and me both.
so plug what we're going to be doing next week. Give it a nice little shout out plug for it.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So if you know my channel, Absolute Sabers, every show that comes out, I tend to do this after show. So next week, starting on Thursday, let me grab my calendar here. If I can find the calendar. Windows 11 sucks. Yeah, Thursday, June 6th. It's going to be 7 p.m. Eastern US time. It's going to be midnight in the UK. I'm going to kick off the Acolyte after show over on my channel, Absolute Sabers. So, be quite a lot of people who are in the chat will probably be on there with us. I know you, Gianni, you've gracefully agreed to give us your time. So I really appreciate that, mate. So definitely come and hang out. And we're going to sit and dissect the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte. Respectfully dissect, not, be one of those jerks.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah. So and then every Thursday after that until the completion of the series. And I will complete this one. I say that because I didn't get to complete the Ahsoka after show, which broke my heart. So yeah, catch us from next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern onwards. And hope to see you there.
Well, what time is the show dropping? Is it 9 for us?
It's on the Tuesday. It's dropping. So the only reason I'm doing a Thursday is because Chris is available on Thursdays.
Okay, so we're not doing it
on the night of release. No.
Okay.
See,
okay.
I can't do after show without my boo-boo, man. I can't do after show without Chris. So
I'm with it.
That's why it's Thursdays, man. So yeah, so the show releases 9 p.m. Eastern time, I believe, on Tuesday. So a week today.
No, that works great for me.
Yeah,
because Tuesdays is Wookie Whispers.
Even better, man.
So it's a win-win.
Better, yes. Tuesday 9 p.m. Eastern. Yep, that's it.
All right.
So, but now I've got a little taste of what you guys sometimes have to endure, because for me it's 2 a.m. So it comes out 2 a.m. on the Wednesday morning, right? So
that's rough.
Yeah, and we usually do the watch along on New Type Sith channel as well. Mm-hmm. So the tables will turn for me. I'll be the one watching early in the morning, and everyone else will be sitting down and enjoying their pleasant evening.
Damn.
So yeah.
How about, here's a thought. You come on over and move to Florida.
Bro, I've had this conversation so many times. It's ridiculous, honestly. If there was a possibility of that, I would in a friggin' heartbeat. Actually, last year I was actually offered a job in London at the time, which was something that I definitely really wanted to pursue, But I've got 2 kids. One obviously lives with me and one doesn't. So that option just really, it was never really an option. And it's fine because I've got other things, I've got other responsibilities, and that's cool. So if it was possible to move to Florida, in a heartbeat, bro, in a heartbeat. But I'll settle for a week every year with the boys.
Hey, I mean, that's more than I see most of my people that live like around the corner. So
same. There's people that live 40 minutes from me that I haven't seen in 5 years.
Literally.
So, yeah, literally, man. So no, I'll settle for that. Maybe in retirement. Maybe when we're old.
There you go. Kids are all graduated and whatnot.
Yeah, man. That's it.
Oh man.
Daddy's gonna move to Florida. You can come on holiday. Like
that's it.
20 years time.
That's it.
So yeah, man. Nice thought. But no, I love coming over.
We love having you. So let's talk about you.
How about me?
Okay, about you. All right. So you've been doing YouTube for quite some time. When was the day or the moment you're like, you know what? I'm going to press record for the first time. What made you do that?
This is a complicated answer.
Okay. I'm here for it.
This is not my first YouTube channel, contrary to some beliefs.
Okay.
Back in 2007, I started collecting the Master Replicas Force FX Sabers, like the before it was Hasbro, right?
Right.
And the first one I ever got was the Mace Windu one. It was I was walking with my girlfriend at the time. I was like 17 years old. And I was walking through Glasgow, and I went past this kind of nerd shop, this geek shop, and it was called Red 5, and it's not there anymore, and it's heartbreaking.
Damn.
But I seen these lightsabers, and I thought, whoa, that's cool. And they had 2 in. The ones they had in was the Vader, and they had the Windu. And I thought, right, I'm going to get the Windu because there's 1 left. But there's lots of Vader, so I might grab that next week. Because I think at the time they were about 130 or 140 pounds. which back then was like $300 because it was like, $2 to the pound. But in the States, I think they were comparable. They were about $160 at the time. So
Mm.
that kind of started it off. I had this old Nokia, I think it was an N95 phone, which had the best camera of any phone at the time. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to try and get some information on these products and see what other ones there are. And then boom, like YouTube videos. And the first YouTube video I came across was a username called Joby1 Kenobi. And he was an older gentleman. He must have been in his early 50s. And I don't ever know really what happened to him, but he collected them all and he would do little reviews on them. So that inspired me to start the first channel. That was nearly 20 years ago.
Wow.
So it got to the point where I collected all the Master Replica ones, even the ones that came back out in 2002, before the sequential blades. So I think there were EL blades, electroluminescent blades. It was like a wire that ran up the blade and it just came on and turned off. It was like a neon light, essentially, like a neon kind of tube. So I kind of hunted them down from the States and everything, and I collected them all. And then eventually, kind of, life takes over and your interests change and you
For
explore other
sure.
avenues and other
Right.
interests. You're growing as a person and all that kind of stuff. So I sold them all, and I wish these to this day I didn't sell them all, but I did. I kept one, which was the Yoda, because
Oh, wow.
my late grandmother bought me that one for Christmas 2007, and she passed away in the March of 2008. So it was literally the last Christmas gift that I got from her.
Wow.
So I never parted with that, and I still have that one. I actually gave it to my eldest son just a few weeks ago, um, because it's a bit of an heirloom now. I've said, look, this means a lot to me. Don't break it, but it's yours now. Look after it for me, And he was so made up and excited, so he's got that in his room now and on a little stand. So fast forward to COVID, TikTok, all that kind of stuff, and Carly King, um, just spinning this lightsaber, and I'm like, there's something I haven't looked at in quite some time. So of course you start exploring and you come across companies, and at the time there was all this carry on with these pop-up shops and people being scammed and everything. And pardon me, done a lot of research for a couple months, and then finally bit the bullet and bought a Leia, yeah, a Leia NeoPixel. um and that was kind of it. I thought, you know what, let's curb some boredom here and maybe start. And so I made a new channel and done a little review of it, and at the time I thought it was the best thing since sliced bread, you know. And that was 3.5 years ago. um
Damn.
and it just kept on growing. I think I bought three or four. Then I got into a relationship with Padwin Outpost, and then they started kind of sending me stuff here and there to review for them, and then other companies as well kind of got involved. And before I knew it, I was in the very kind of lucky position of being involved with several companies who had good reputations. You know, so I really wanted to make the channel about where people can find these products and they can buy with confidence and not be scammed out of their money and all that kind of bad stuff. So that's kind of where the channel as it is now came from. And that's what it was started as, and that was really the mission statement, was to help people not only obtain these products safely
Right.
and not have their money stolen, because there was a lot of that going on. I won't name companies. And then also as well to learn how these operated properly and to do tutorials and to help people out a bunch. Because when I was looking for information, it was very scattered. There wasn't
Oh,
really
yeah.
a bank of information I could really just read through or go through or watch. So
Right.
that was really the beginnings of what is now Absolute Sabers.
That's so cool. So, you go through this journey, you restart and relaunch a YouTube channel, then what happens? Like you get all these companies, they start, sending you stuff, things are going good. Then all
Yep.
of a sudden you land Saber Theory.
Yeah, that was
So
unexpected, man.
so obviously I'm sure there's quite a bit that you can't share, but out of what you can share, kind of like what happened, how did that come about? And all those things.
Really and truly, like, first of all, the companies I've worked with, I don't. I've had a lot of companies email or DM me like, "Hey, can we send you a saber?" And I'm like, before I even reply, I'm checking them out.
Oh, for
You know,
sure.
I'm checking them out. I'm making sure they're legit. I'm going through Reddits and subreddits. I'm looking at the website. Is it legit? How long have they operated for? Do they have Instagram? Do they have this? How long have they had that for? Blah blah blah. I'm going through the website to make sure everything's kosher, right? So there's been no shorter than maybe 30, 40 different companies that that reach out. And I know I'm not the only one, but the companies that I have, marketed for and promoted in the past, they've been completely vetted by not just me, by a lot of people as well and their customers. And I think the best kind of vetting is as a customer. So I have done undercover shopping before with certain companies, and I have been stung by certain companies. I've always used a
Mm,
credit card so I can charge it back, and I'm not liable for it.
right.
So I've always made sure that the companies that I use and promote, they are legit. Saber Theory kind of came around, believe it or not, 2.5 years ago when they were a brand new company.
Mm.
The owner reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, we're a brand new saber company. We really like your content. Can we send you some sabers?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, it happens. Yeah, it happens. Believe it or not, it happens." And I'm like, "No, sorry. You're a new company. Let's maybe revisit this in 12 to 18 months. We'll see where you're at. We'll see how you're doing. I only really, recommend companies to my followers and subscriber base who have got a good reputation and a built reputation." So at the time, it was like uh, Dark Wolf and Padawan Outpost and Vader Sabers, and there's a couple others from Asia that I was working with as well. Um, and then in March of this year, we kind of got back in touch, and they were like, "Hey, would you like to join our exclusive kind of marketing program?" And I'm like, "Huh, okay, tell me more." I know I have friends who have got much larger followings than me who are also part of the same kind of program. So I spoke to them. I won't name names, but I spoke to them about it, and they were like, "Do it. If your main goal here really is to get content out, because I've been on a bit of hiatus the last kind of year or so with a lot of stuff that's been going on."
Right.
They were like, "Do it. They're a good company. The communication is fantastic. They've got a good reputation. Look at the testimonials and the reviews on their website." And again, it's a company that I've watched since that initial point of contact.
No.
Pretty much since I said no. So I never expected that to come around again. Um, but again, like you said, I can't discuss too much. But at the end of the day, it was an opportunity that I couldn't say no to. Right. It was also really difficult because the companies that I do and have worked with, they're now friends. I do build up a
Yeah.
personal relationship, and to have the conversations with Arthur from Art Sabers, Russell from Vader Sabers and whatnot, just to say, listen, this opportunities kind of came along just when I was about to go kind of full time with this as well. This
Mm,
opportunities came along. You know, I I don't know what to do right now. So
that's hard.
discussing, it's very difficult, and it's,
Yeah.
I guess, one of the reasons why they say don't ever mix business and pleasure, because obviously you form loyalties to friends and whatnot. But at the end of the day, the position that I find myself in, or found myself in at the time, because I was unemployed, I couldn't say no to it. The package was too good, and they understood. They were like, do it, go for it.
Yeah.
So
How could you
you
not?
know, well, I could not say no. I'd be a fool, So luckily, I still have a good relationship with both those guys and those companies. We talk a lot about other things, now obviously and whatnot, but we keep in touch. But the main thing that really attracted me to Saber Theory when that offer was made was the freedom. Not to say that other companies that I've worked with in the past, if I'd have contacted them and said, hey, can you send me this? Hey, can you send me that they wouldn't do it. It's just that from the get-go, the freedom and the way everything was laid out to me, I don't have to contact anyone. I've
That's
just got a
nice.
method. I've just got a method of I go on the website, I've got a special code, I can get this, boom, right? Obviously, you don't take the Mickey with it, right? It's a responsible thing because
100%.
these orders automatically go through to the factories and whatnot, and they just get sent out. So there's a bit of responsibility that kind of comes with it. You can't abuse it. So the freedom that it gave me and the options that it gave me to get in what I wanted to get into review, but also what I wanted to do for giveaways and other events. We just had a giveaway, just gave away a Qui-Gon Jinn Xenopixel this past week. And
So
the
cool.
review for that dropped tonight. Oh, dude, love it. And they've made such improvements, Nexus, the manufacturer, on that particular model. It really is fantastic now. So the freedom is something that really attracted me, And lo and behold, the first kind of 6 weeks, I start getting Sabers in, and I got seriously sick. So I was so organized, man. Like I was talking to you, get the new studio set up and everything going, get the static cameras, the mics, and invested a little bit of what I had in some newer equipment ready to go. And I got sick, man. And now from being so far ahead and organized, I am so behind. It is
Jeez.
unreal. So this week really is touch wood. The first kind of day that I've actually not felt properly ill or to the point where I'm not losing my voice randomly. It goes a little bit raspy now and again. I take a drink, I have a little cough, I'm fine. But like I was
Right.
recording content and then all of a sudden I would go to say something and I had no voice. And it was so frustrating, especially when you're working with a company who's put so much trust in you and who's
Right.
giving you so much access, and you're ordering stuff in, and you're like, oh shit, this looks bad.
Yeah.
So this week for me in particular was very, very busy. So I've dropped the Qui-Gon review tonight, the Ezra 3 review, which is stunning, by the way. The Ezra 3 is absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous lightsaber. That'll be either tomorrow or Thursday. And then into next week, again, we've got the Shin Hati, we've got the Depa Balaba, we've got the Bale and Skull, and then the next lot are due to be delivered in the next kind of 10 days or so. So I've got a lot to do in the next 10 days before that next batch comes in. So expect to see plenty of content across all platforms for the next for the foreseeable future.
My man's got pallets of Sabers coming in.
Oh, bro, this is what I'm saying, man. I literally have now ran out of space. I now need to either acquire a 3D printer to print my own stands because it's going to be cheaper that way because they're about $20 a stand and I need about 30 of them. Cool. So that ain't going to happen. So I'm now at a crossroads where I've got some lying down on the cabinet because there's no shelf space. I've got 6 massive shelves and a bookcase. And I still can't fit them all on, man. So I think there could be some serious giveaways going on soon, put it that way.
Yeah, you're gonna need to because it's impossible.
It's going to turn into a museum. But that's kind of how it came about. You know, it came about from a solid no a couple of years ago to a bit of a full circle moment. But it was a difficult decision to make. It was quite difficult, you know, because like I said, you make friends with people. Russell in particular, I've met Russell and his family on several occasions. They were in Scotland last year on vacation just before celebration, so we met up when they were here. We met up again in London, and then Russell was with us in Galaxy's Edge that day in September as well. So again,
Yep.
great guy, great family, great company. So yeah, it was difficult in certain ways um, to kind of make a decision on that one, but I think I made the right one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The door always opens when it's meant to, the right one.
I believe
And
that. Yeah,
yeah, the moment we start trying to force things to happen, then that's when things go wrong because it wasn't
yeah,
meant to be. It wasn't written that
yeah,
way, but you forced it that way.
yeah,
And so that's the problem. Yeah, I hope one day I could be in a position like that. Um, I'm kind of in that stage where you were right before. I got about 6 companies that randomly send me things here and there
yeah,
for review and all of that, and they've been amazing. But to be able to do this one day full time, like, because the way it's set up now is like they'll hit me up randomly, "Hey, we're gonna send you this,"
yeah,
and which is great. I'm like, "Absolutely." But the problem is, especially as you know, in this game, is that if you're not ahead of the game and you're posting that whatever that saber is, months later, then it doesn't really do you any good. And there's just,
yeah,
there's so many different things to it. And it would be nice just to be kind of like locked in with like one team and just like roll because then
yeah,
you all on the same path, you want the same thing, open communication. You guys can just roll instead of like I'm in this space where everything's very sporadic and I can't really plan
yeah,
because I don't know. So a lot of, I would say 95% of the things that I put on my channel, I pay for with my own money.
yeah.
So
And in the
it's
beginning,
hard.
I was exactly the same as, and it's very difficult. And in the beginning, I did have disposable income, because in the beginning we were in lockdown, so I wasn't paying for gas to go to and from work and whatever. My mum was staying with us too because she's just on her own, so she lived with us during lockdown and whatnot. So she was chipping in for a little bit of the rent, even though we told her not to. You know what mums are like, right? They're like, just
For
take this,
sure.
just take this, son. It's fine. Um, so there's a lot more disposable income at the time compared to now. Like if I had to go back to at this moment in time having to pay for everything, I would be screwed.
Oh yeah.
Because the inflation and the way things are at this moment, it's just not possible. So I get where you're at. Working with one company has its advantages and it has its disadvantages as well, to be honest. Because depending on what the company gets in, there's a number of sabers right now that I would love to get in, but Theory don't stock them yet,
Right.
right? So when they do eventually, and they will trickle through, like you said, it's a few months after they've been released, and other resellers and whatnot have already kind of had them, and so the effect isn't as great. But at the same time, working with many companies, which I formerly did, I wanted to create like a network. And the network I wanted to create, and which I did create, and it worked very good, very successfully for a couple of years, was to have this was before TXQ really started kind of up in their game. I'm talking about when it was like LGT, not Nexus, but it was LGT. And
Right.
they were the ones that were really putting out the best stuff. It had to be like I wanted a reseller that I could recommend in Australia, a reseller that I could recommend in Asia, a reseller that I could recommend, or a couple of resellers I could recommend in North America, and a couple in Europe. And I
Mm,
achieved that, right? And I achieved that for people who are my followers and subscribers. Even though a lot of it is drop shipped, people tend to have this habit of, if there's a place in my country that does it, I would give them the business instead.
right.
Because you're working towards your own economy there, right? Some people think like that, some people don't. But 9 times out of 10, people would rather, even though it comes from the same place, they would rather, if it's in the UK, I'd rather stick to the UK. If it's in the US, if I'm in the US, I would rather stick to the US or whatever.
Hmm.
So building that kind of little global network at the time, where again there was a lot of scammers, that was a really satisfying moment for me in getting those kind of partnerships in place, and having an option for people to go to different places. If you live there, if you live here, you can go there. If you live there, you can go there. Not to say that you can't order from the States if you live in Germany, but it's an
Right.
option, right?
Yeah.
So that was one of the things that I wanted to do, and it worked very, very well. And then kind of little by little, the companies that were bad eggs, they were seen for what they were, and they fell by the wayside. There's still a few about, nowhere near as many as there was. But working with the one company, like you said, everyone's on the same page. You can plan ahead a little bit more, and there's an aspect of loyalty there as well. They have loyalty to you, you've loyalty to them, and loyalty isn't. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad
No.
thing.
No, I'm about it. Like I think for me, um, where I am currently living in and going to enter an even more like state of a lot of unstable unknown, you know,
Yep. Oh yeah.
um, to have something that's concrete.
Yep.
And even though it might not be the very best, like where let's say you have a million different partnerships and you could basically get what you want, something about having the stability
Yes.
is a peace of mind thing to be able to create more freely and not have to worry because you're just you're set, everything's set up kind of like the studio. I could
Yeah.
just come in and hit record. Like if I had a situation where like you're in, I know I have products that are going to come in and we can do this and it'll sustain the channel and all those things, but I'm in a state of freaking upheaval, so
Dude, this is the thing, though. Pardon me. It is worth having the conversation out of the companies that you work with. It's worth having the conversation, because at the end of the day, if you can, here's the thing: some people just like to see something, and where can I get it? They don't care about where it's from. A
right.
lot of a lot of people like brand loyalty, right? And
Mhm.
I've noticed that within the community over probably the last year. A lot of people like brand loyalty, and it doesn't kind of really matter what new companies pop up and who's running those companies or whatever. For example, you've got Theory Sabers now as well with Star Wars Theory, probably one of the most prominent figures in our community and kind of what we do.
Hands down.
There are still people who will not buy from him because they've been buying from this company for 2 or 3 years, and they will just stay at that company. That's not saying anything about his company or about him. That
Right.
just is a human behavior,
That's it.
right? That's
Mhm.
the thing. So brand loyalty is a massive thing. So it's definitely worthwhile having a conversation, mate. Honestly, it really is. But at the same time, knowing where you stand, knowing where you're at, and getting the content out, it's great. But it's the people who want to see the products that you're reviewing. It's the people who want to know, does it have this? Does it do that? How does it look? Because all they have is reference photos to go from the factory. They don't really have. There's not many companies that actually take their own photographs. They
Right.
have the reference, and a lot of the time, those reference photos, they're computer generated mock-ups. They're not actual photos of the product.
Way too often.
So way too often. So getting the products in quickly and allowing people the opportunity to see it, to make an informed decision. You know,
That's it.
that's the goal. And the amount of people that will watch my content or your content, it could be one company, it could be another company that sent it to you or I. They might have their own company already that they want to deal with, and they'll go and get it from them. You know, fair enough. That's the consumer's choice, right? We still get the view, we still get the the traction. So it's a difficult game at times, isn't it? Because you want X, Y, and Z, but sometimes you only get X and Y.
Yeah. And I think too, though, another thing is a lot of people don't know that it's all the same manufacturer.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, yeah. The amount there's still so many. It's kind of funny, you know, because obviously, again, going back to Nia, a Star Wars theory in his company, right? Obviously, he's a lot of effort into his company, and you can see it. It
So
comes.
much.
You see the content. You see the people do unboxings and stuff. A lot of the comments you see, oh, yours are so much better than this company's, and yours are so much better than that company's, and you're like, these people don't know these are coming from the same factory. It's the same
Yeah.
product. You
Right.
know, okay, his has got some exclusive things that maybe Jesse has done for him, or different
100%.
sound packages or whatever. But in terms of the physical product, it's exactly the same thing, you know.
100%.
Um,
Yep.
but
What sets him
who?
apart is his packaging and his
Yeah.
marketing
Oh, the
and
marketing's
him
great. The packing, yeah, yeah.
and the reliability that it's coming from him because people know him, so they know, like, they're gonna get their stuff.
That's the
That
thing.
alone is huge because they
Yeah,
trust him and they should trust him because, I don't know if you ever met him, but he's awesome.
I've
He's a
never had the
good dude.
pleasure. I've never had the pleasure to meet him at all. I would love to meet him one day. There's some conversations I would definitely love to sit down and have with him. But
Yeah.
maybe one day, maybe one day. But
I got to hang
no,
out with
like
him for a weekend.
I I seen that. I seen all the photographs.
He's awesome. Like, he's just a good dude, like, just a good dude. I don't like, there's no other way to put it. So, seeing him, like, do well makes me happy.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. He works
Yeah.
hard. And he does.
Super
And
hard.
people can say what they want about Star Wars theory, right? Because there's a lot of people out there that are less than kind. Let's be honest. The guy
Mhm.
enjoys what he does, right? He works hard to have what he has, and he works hard to do what he does and to continue doing what he does. And now he's got a saber company. Does he hand make them himself? No, but he's got a
Nobody
company.
does.
Some people do, but not many. This is the thing, right?
Well,
This
yeah.
is the thing. And now he's got a company where he is taking the customization to the maximum level that he can to set
Yep.
his product apart from the same product that's been sold by Jeff next door, right? More power to him,
Oh,
and
100%. He's crushing it.
more power to anyone who wants to. I mean, you know my partner. You've had dealings with my partner, you know.
Mhm. Awesome.
Um, I mean, when she came to me with that, I was like, "You have no idea what you're getting into," but I will support you as best I possibly can with it. And then the baby, came along, and now she doesn't know what she's actually doing. So it's one of those ones where you see the work that's put in. I seen the work that she had to put in, so I've got an idea of the work that the theory has had to put into that. So it makes you
It's a lot of
appreciate it
work.
in a different level, and it makes you appreciate the companies also that you work with as well.
100%. Oh, yeah.
Um, especially the ones that are extremely busy. The ones who are constantly having to answer customer service tickets and putting through orders and liaising with the factory about a problem or this or that. People think it's easy. It's not. I've seen it firsthand.
No.
It's not easy. So
Oh, yeah.
more power to them.
100%. That's not something I think I'd ever want to embark on, in terms of it being my own thing. But if I could ever be in a situation where I could like work with theory in terms of like being a reviewer or of some sort for him, that would be sick. I had a blast with him, dude, in Orlando. He's he's cool. If we were like, if he wasn't in Canada and he was down here, I feel like the way we like vibed, I feel like we'd be best friends.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, reach out to him. Contact you. You know Carter, don't you? Remember?
Oh yeah, me and Carter, we text all the time.
Reach and put it out there. You
I know
know,
AJ
just do
too.
it.
AJ's cool.
Yeah, AJ, Cody, put it out there.
Mhm.
Just put
Yeah.
it out there. You know, just do it. You
I
know,
think I might just
Tony.
reach out to Theory directly.
Well, exactly. You know, if you're on that kind of level with him, yeah, just reach out to him. Hey, dude. You know, dude. There is no reason as to why it can't happen.
No, that's true. I mean, it's just his I just love his brand. Like I think I've been looking at the website and checking out everything and I'm like I vibe with this. Like this makes sense
Yeah,
for me.
yeah, and quite rightly so.
So,
The work that's been the work that has been put into it, you know, is
tremendous amount of work.
undoubtedly tremendous. You know, so
100%.
I say go for it, bro. What you got to lose? Nothing.
Nothing. If
Nothing,
it
man.
works, it
Nothing.
works. If it doesn't, all good, you know.
It'll
I'm sure
work.
he's got a million people
It'll work.
clamoring for his attention,
I'll
so
I'll I'll see you unboxing Saber Theory stuff in 2 weeks. Sorry, Theory Saber stuff in 2 weeks. Sorry.
you say, hey,
That's the
Saber
thing.
Theory too, you know.
Saber Theory Saber. I mean, gee,
Hey,
God, man, it's
either one. No.
you know what I meant.
So funny. I know it. I know
But
what you meant.
it's not. It can be a fickle game. You know, it can be a fickle. At the end of the day, here's where you and I kind of find ourselves, right? No matter how different degrees it may be, we have the pleasure of working with companies who believe enough in our presence and in the work that we do to
Yep.
where we have the pleasure of receiving products that we're extremely interested in free of charge to review for them, and we get to keep them.
It's so
It's
cool.
it's it's so cool, and it's an extremely humbling thing. And sometimes, and I've experienced this in the last couple of years. Sometimes it's so easy to get caught up in what can I get next, right?
Right.
It's very easy to kind of fall into that mindset and that trap, and a lot of people do. And
Oh yeah.
it's human nature because you're trying to plan, but then you're trying to plan the wrong way and you're trying to plan for the wrong reasons, you know.
Right.
So there's every now and again I take a little step back and I come into this room and I just look at everything and I'm just reminded of how humbling it is and how what's the word I'm looking for here? Kind of gratifying it is to have people appreciate what it is that you do for fun,
Yeah.
you
Right.
know? So yeah, it's very, very, very important. Someone
Isn't it
recently asked
wild?
me, huh?
Isn't it wild? Like we get to do this. Like we choose to do it, but like we also like get to do this.
It's if you had told me or if anyone had told me that night that I first hit upload with that Leia Saber that in 3 years' time, less than 3 years' time at that point, I think it was like 6 months, there will be companies sending you stuff to review, and you get to keep it, and it's cool as hell. I I would have slapped you and told you to shut up, right?
Right.
It is an extremely privileged position that a few of us find ourselves in, you know. And you look
Right.
at Instagram and you look at the guys and the girls that get the privilege to be in these positions. And there seems to be quite a lot of us, but when you actually look at the overall size of the community now, um,
It's not that big.
especially since COVID, the pool of us is so small and insignificant compared to the larger draw.
Right.
So to be part of that chosen few, no matter what company it is. It's mind blowing. It's very humbling, and it's yeah, it's I just feel extremely
I
lucky.
agree with
So
that. I agree with that. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
we get to do this. It is a privilege. And we get to do it and we love to do it because it's a topic and it's a thing that we've loved as basically children.
oh yeah,
And there's really nothing better than that. You know, it's feeding our inner child um
oh so
through
much,
so much, you know,
so much,
and
you know.
just embracing that till its fullest. Um and I'm just forever grateful. So,
Yeah. Oh, dude,
but yeah,
honestly, me too. It's
yeah.
funny because my father-in-law is quite a big Star Wars fan, and when he kind of comes over and he comes in here and he'll like, Jesus, how many more? How many more do you have? How many have you bought? And I can honestly say, right, I've got over 37 lightsabers in this room. I've bought 4 of them, right? I mean, I tell him that he's like, and he has a little bit of banter with you, you know, like, oh, who have you scammed out of this now, and who have you, because that's just the way he is. But
Mhm.
to have a collection that you love of items, and you know, there's various companies that just appreciate that what you do and see value in what you do.
Yeah.
To then be able to have this is a dream of mine. Like having all of these lightsabers from, you know, it's literally a dream from way back in '07 when I started, you know, walked into that shop in Glasgow and bought that Mace Windu.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's very humbling. It's a massive privilege, and when people engage with the content, it's so gratifying.
It is. It is. Ah, now I wanna go record something.
I'm not
Oh,
recording
man.
anything until tomorrow, man, because
No, yeah, it's late for
yeah,
you. It's late for us too. So speaking of that, I mean, it is probably what, like 2 o'clock in the morning at this point?
it's 2:22, man. I've got plenty of gas in the tank. You can go as long as you want.
I gotta work in the morning, so
Yeah, I've got a baby to get up in the morning as well and get fed and sorted out.
yeah.
And as well as yeah, I've got 4 videos to do tomorrow.
Jeez,
So
God bless you.
yeah,
Send me
I'm
pictures.
oh, I will be, man. I will be. It's I'm finishing up the Ezra 3 review. Um, every lightsaber that I get in now gets a minimum of 3 videos, right? So you get the long form review on YouTube, which the viewership, I don't know about other people, but the viewership for me with my long form stuff is definitely skydived.
For sure.
The shorter stuff is where it's kind of at now, right? And for like the longest time, I'm sitting thinking, how do I cram all of this information into like a 1 minute video? Like that is just a friggin' headache, right?
Yeah, right.
And then you look at what everyone else is doing, and they're all doing the same thing. And you're like, sweet, I'll just do that and then link into the long form one and hopefully get more views that way.
Yep.
Because that's kind of what it is, right? So every saber now gets a long form review, it gets a short form intro kind of overview, and then it gets a couple of comparison videos, you know. And then if other stuff comes in where it kind of goes together, you know, maybe it's another Obi-Wan saber, or maybe it's a partner of a apprentice and master or something. You can do something with that.
Right.
The possibilities are endless, you know.
Well,
So
especially when you have 37 of them.
yeah, 37 and only 6 batteries that work, you know. So,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, but yeah, no, it's that's kind of where I'm at today. So I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to getting caught up is what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
So I can maybe take a couple of days and breathe before the next wave.
That'd be good.
So, and then the next giveaway as well is coming up shortly. So I'm going to be having a 10K giveaway. So,
I
yeah,
just
well,
I just I just
hopefully
wanna get to
that'll be
5.
soon.
I just wanna get
Well,
to 5K.
Post shorts. Believe me, Tony gave me the best advice in the last 2 weeks. Now I've had like nearly 600 new subscribers just from shorts.
I know.
So,
I
yeah.
know.
No, there's no gatekeeping here, folks.
It's just I have a love-hate relationship with shorts.
Oh, dude, so did I. But now I'm busting them out like Skittles out of a packet, man. Like it's just one of those things, you know. And you know something? See if I can get the channel to the point where I can stop doing so many shorts, then I would be super happy. But I just think YouTube is just, they want shorts. Like,
it's the new
yeah,
TikTok.
The long form stuff's decent, but we want shorts, you know, like they're making you work for it now. Whereas 2 years ago, you could put up a 0 pixel review and have like 5,000 views in the first 40 minutes. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
So, yeah. So the wonderful world of YouTube, bro.
I don't even want to get into that.
Damn.
Yeah, I know it. Well, it has been a pleasure. I know it's super late for you, and it's getting late for me.
Pleasure's been all mine, bro. Thank you so much for having me on.
No, thank you for
really
coming.
Enjoyed the conversation.
I'm excited for next week for the after show on Thursday. Yeah. Those of you who are watching, it's going to be 7 p.m. Eastern time. So if you are following me, catch me on his channel on Thursday. We'll be hanging out, talking about the Acolyte. Super pumped for the show.
It's going to be so good.
It's going to be so good. Sam, thank you again for coming on.
Thank you for having me, man. It's been a pleasure. I'll come back anytime.
So this is just a formality, but I will talk to you very soon. It has been a pleasure, guys. Please, if you're still watching, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button on both of our channels. We love you. We thank you, and may the force be with you. One.